super fanboy guy. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the stream. And obviously, as I mentioned earlier, in the past couple days, we were having some technical difficulties with the live stream on Saturday, and unfortunately, we weren't able to show everybody the game that we played that day. So I just were doing this stream to kind of let people know what happened in our game, and this is just the audio recording that we're doing right now. And let me just see. So right now we got about 3 people in the chat. And so everybody in the chat, if you can just let me know if you can hear me, because I'm still testing out some of the fixes that I made. So one of the things that I'm doing is I'm on my laptop, which is a far more powerful computer than my desktop, which I was on Saturday. So, and I also tried lowering the latency because, I wanted to interact with the chat a little bit more so there shouldn't be as much of a delay when we record. And okay, Aftershock Reviews, thanks for letting me know that. So, okay, I think they can hear us. So, Berechiach, are you still there?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. How's everybody doing? Hope everyone's doing real well.
Awesome. Yes, it is Mr. Darkseid himself live. And, I just want to also say that we had a very excellent time playing the game on Saturday. I mean, there was a couple of things that went wrong for Berechiach, unfortunately, that I think if things would have went out a little bit differently, it could have been a completely different game. But we're gonna save the details about, well, what we remember of it anyway, later in the stream that we're talking. But right now we're just gonna kind of talk about a little, just kind of ramble on about certain things before we talk about our game. And I just want to make sure that it gives people a little bit of time to also help on the stream and stuff like that. So, okay, we still got about 3 people in. So,
I do have a question.
yeah.
Because some people have been saying that they seen it, and others are saying they did not. Is the game on YouTube yet?
Okay, so this is what the whole problem was that we had. So when I was streaming on Saturday, there was there was lag with the video, but apparently our voices came on, and our first, I think the voices for our first game was recorded, but the lag was so bad that the video didn't get recorded. It was like dragging on,
Mm,
so the video got ruined for it. And for some reason, which I can't explain, but when we were having the uh, problems with the internet, like it affected the video somehow, so it didn't record our second or our third games. And so we have the voice of our first game, which I can put that up later if people want to hear it. But I thought
mm.
by doing this video, we can at least kind of go over some of the things that we did, during our
Okay.
game.
I
And I
I may
figured,
have to
go
I
ahead.
may have to talk to Granny Goodness about that, because technically they did. So can we say it happened?
But you know what? I
Dark-
will I will definitely say that we will have a rematch. And actually, I'm just gonna walk away from my mic for a second because I'm gonna plug in my computer, but so I don't want it to die on me. So I'll be right
All
back.
right. All right. Well, while he's gone, I want to tell everybody that since he's saying that you didn't see Darkseid lose, Darkseid technically did not lose. Since, because if a tree falls and no one's there to see it, did it really make a noise? That's all we're trying to go and say. So, yes, we're going to talk about the details. However, I'm going to talk to my lawyers at Apocalypse, and we're going to go and see if this match, because of the technical difficulties, if this match could be erased from the books. Because, hey, the versus community did not get the opportunity to see it. And if they did not get the opportunity to see it, it didn't happen. So that is just something Mr. Darkseid is going to have to talk to his counsel about that. In all serious, I had a great time with the match. I loved it. I can't wait to go into details about it because I remember certain aspects of the match that I really felt those turning points, and I do want to go over, and because there was a certain play on the third game that if I didn't do it, I think I really would have won that game. But we're gonna go into a lot of details about that. Um, and I can't wait for that.
Okay, I'm
Let
back.
me. All right,
So,
go. Yeah, good. I was able to ramble on while you was
okay.
while you was gone.
All right, so my internet connection is excellent. I think everything is fine. So let's just go ahead and get started. So from what I remember on the first game, we rolled to see who went first. We did odd or even to see who chose the initiative. And
Hmm.
so I remember I rolled, we rolled and I won the roll, so I decided to choose the even initiative. And I know between our decks, it really, whoever goes first and gets the even initiative really has an advantage in the game. And I don't know if you've played your Darkseid deck with other decks in the past that
Hmm.
that you feel like, oh, I definitely want the even initiative. I guess that a question to ask you, does your deck prefer the odd or even initiative? And you can
Um,
like, what did you think about it before we played our game, and now after we played our game? How do you think?
Even initiative definitely works for me for the simple fact that that means I could drop my four drop dark side first. So that definitely helps as well. So that way I could get a bonus on, when people want to play for the resource row.
Right,
Also on turn 6, my six drop could use his effect during the attack step. So that is another uh that he could just pay 3 to KO. That is something big. So I prefer to go second. However, going odds isn't that bad as well because that means on turn 5, I usually attack with my Dark Superboy and try to get for 2 for 1s as well.
right,
With your deck definitely going second is whoever has second is definitely better for the fact that hey, I could kind of respond to a couple of things and do a couple of things before before Doctor Doom comes out.
right. And then the other thing, the only time that I could think of where I would want to that I have advantage on the odd initiative is on turn 7 if I play Submariner and then I get to attack.
Hmm.
But that's kind of double jeopardy because yeah, I get to attack, but then since you have the initiative after me, now you could decide you can rearrange your front row and support rows so that maybe the more powerful guys stay in the support row that Submariner can't hit, and you kind of play around that. Whereas if I had the initiative and I played Submariner on turn 7, it kind of changes the way you rearrange your front row and support row characters, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, definitely does. I mean, if it's your attack staff and you got Submariner, I kind of don't want it to, really don't want a support row and stuff. I mean, it's funny because Submariner he puts in work. I mean, he's one of those cards that I think that because a lot of people always go when they think of Doom, it's just the stall, but
Right.
like when you have a 7 drop Submariner out there, which is so offensive, so freaking great. Some people just don't take advantage of the fact that hey man, Doom gets busy. Doom can attack. Like also with Doom, like with Doomed Earth, which is another really, really good deck that I think they had a online tournament with them.
Is that the Crisis of Infinite Earths Doctor Doom deck that you're
It's
talking
oh, I'm
about? Okay.
sorry about that. I moved too far away from my computer. That Doomed Earth deck is really good. So always like to encourage people that hey man, Doom is very versatile. Doom could do more than stall.
Yeah, and actually, on my podcast, we talked about the Moloid's Burn deck, which is kind of a Doom deck, but not really like a traditional Doom deck, but it has some Doom
Mhm.
characters in it. So that's
Yeah.
another way you can also build Doctor Doom as well. And yeah, Doom just has all sorts of different builds with him. But okay, so anyway, let's kind of talk about our first match, or I guess our first round, and kind of go into details that happened. So like I said, I got the even initiative because I won the dice roll, so I chose that. So from what I remember on turn, I think that was the game on turn 1. I shifted Caliban with one shift counter, and
Yeah.
and the reason why you should always, if you have Caliban, you shouldn't wait to turn 2 to just shift them out with your 2 resource points. You should shift them on turn 1 if you have them, because if you happen to draw Boris on turn 2, you can pay a resource, add another shift counter into Caliban, and then you can play your Boris on turn 2. So that's why you make use of your resource points that way.
that turn one when you got it and you only had one of that card, that was definitely devastating for me because of the fact that my deck, it takes advantage of, I usually always have a hand, and it definitely needed when when I'm using dark matter terrain and all. So having that happen, and that means my 4-drop dark side was kind of like just a wall, and my 3 drops were really obsolete at that point. So it was really difficult for me at that point.
Yeah, so when, and this is the funny thing is I drew that Caliban when we drew our first two for the turn, so I got really lucky by drawing that Caliban. And like I mentioned to you earlier, I don't think it's ever been, I don't know if we did it on the deck profile video we did like on the Thursday, but I did say that I did not like change cards in my deck to like go against Darkseid, because when you do that, you dilute from from you're weaker to other decks essentially. So the changes, because I submitted a deck list to you originally, but I told you it wasn't the final deck list because I needed to play test it with my friends and make sure it was, you know, adequate for our match. But then when I played it against my friends, my friend Victor had the Bosom Buddies deck, and he was just drawing all sorts of cards with, Techno Organic Virus and Black Box and those kind of cards. And so I was like, okay, I really need to do something with all the straw stuff. And I remember on my podcast, we did our first episode was Mega City, and that deck that we talked about, you ran one copy of Caliban. So that's where I got the idea of playing that Caliban in the deck. So I knew that, I definitely knew he had to go in the deck, and I was
Uh,
obviously lucky that time to actually
yeah.
shift out when I had
Hey,
one copy.
hey, I have to because I'm looking at the chat right now, and there's one I have to address something.
Okay,
All right,
sure.
first off, Superman does not own Darkseid. I have beaten Superman many times, and I know who this person is.
Okay.
All right, and I just want to let him know. I'm not going to say his name because he knows. The last time we played, Superman got owned. Even though Superman, it wasn't technically a Superman deck, it was technically a Trinity deck, which I have a winning record against Trinity decks. Yes, and Ralph, if you're there, how you doing? Yes, I have a winning record against Trinity decks. So Darkseid owns, like I said, owns Trinity, and if anybody has a issue with that, they know where to find Mr. Darkseid.
And the other thing too is like, so you feel like, it would be a really fun game to do is Kevin and Aaron, who played in my preliminary match on the stream. Kevin should try playing his Superman deck against your Darkseid deck, which I think he would definitely be in favorite in that matchup. But it would just be funny to see.
Yeah, I would say that in that matchup, I have so much more respect for Heat Vision.
Oh, really?
Because when I saw Heat Vision, I was like, oh, Heat Vision. But that burn for 3 was starting to really add up after a while. And even though, like, because in their second match, he only lost by 1 point.
Yeah, both games were really close too. Like,
Hmm.
and I actually think Kevin was really happy with the way his deck performed too. So he was, kudos to Kevin on that deck. So I'll give you a clap for that. But I also did really like Aaron's Lex Luthor deck because it had a lot of like tricks, and it definitely felt like a Lex Luthor theme deck. So it was
that
cool. And if anybody didn't get to see, I did an interview with both of them, and you can look at they talk about their decks. So that's on my YouTube channel if anybody wants to check that out.
that death of Superman was just brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal. It was just so like, oh my goodness. Like if like when I go against Revenge Squad deck, as soon as they say Death of Superman, I'm like, nope, 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 that's getting replaced immediately. Not happening.
Yeah, not today. No way.
Not today.
Okay, we got a little sidetrack. So going back to our
Yeah.
match. So I remember I shifted out on turn one. We went to turn two, and it was my initiative. I went ahead and played my resource, and I believe I just put another shift counter on Caliban and
Hmm.
passed. And then on your turn, you played the Malice, I believe, right?
Yes, yes. I got my malice, so I was getting my drops that game. I remember, and things were, like I said, things were going good. But seeing Caliban, and which I have a deep hatred for Marvel Evolution. Anyone that knows me, they know the power creep on that set is just I consider Evolution a fan made set because that's how unfair some of those cards are.
Well, it was honestly evolution. Also, you could think of it as the like, the final. It was kind of like like when somebody is, like if you lose your job or something, then you typically, people, not that we're encouraging this at all, but obviously, there's been some when people lose their jobs because they've been laid off or something, they take kind of a some kind of reaction to that, like, oh, they go smash their desk or they steal stuff from the office or something like that. So I feel like it seems like to me evolution, like they knew the game was going to die, but evolution was still in print. So they said, "Oh, we're just going to make all these powerful cards that we can and, screw the community." That's like the well, not screw the community, but like screw all the screw the rules, we're going to break the rules kind of a thing. That's
Yeah,
how
yeah,
I really see it.
because Energize definitely looked like something that was supposed to be for the Flash, for a Flash deck. Just being able to kind of ready like that and all those
Oh,
crazy wacky effects.
well, that's
Yeah,
true.
because. Hmm.
Huh, I never thought about that, but that's interesting that you mentioned that.
So with our match, it was like with that one because the hand event, the me not having a hand was definitely affecting me because like I'm not used to having 2 3 cards in my hand on turn 4. Even though I was getting some drops, not being able to like draw and have options was definitely affecting me that game.
Well, and the other thing too about that first round is I don't remember if I played Puppet Master or Doctor Doom on turn 3, but I think I got Puppet Master out on that game somewhere. And
Hmm.
and I also remember, I think that was also the game where I got my lock on you, which is Doctor Doom, Diabolic Genius, and Victor Von Doom out on the field.
Hmm.
And I think after you saw that, you were just like, this, and I can't draw cards. I think that was kind of the end of that game. I
Yeah,
don't.
yeah, that was definitely yeah. Because I think we went to turn 6, but like after that, I saw the writing on the wall. There wasn't much that I could really do with it. I was like, yeah, this is all she wrote.
Yeah, exactly. So okay, so that was kind of like the gist of of round one for the most part. Then what we on round two, you took the even initiative,
Yeah.
and I'm trying, and this I could tell you what I remember about this. So when I got my opening hand, it was literally, I think, like a handful of plot twists and locations, and like, oh, there's no way I'm keeping this. So I put them at the bottom, and I drew 4 character cards, and I think I drew like Puppet Master and Boris and 2 other characters, and I'm just like, oh my god, this is brutal. And then when we drew our first 2 cards for the turn, I drew another character and Reign of Terror. So
Oh
I was
wow.
like, oh, I knew when that happened, I'm like, he is winning this game because one of these cards I'm going to have to put face down that I can't flip. The only thing I could do is I could KO the resource and, with the 3-drop Doctor Doom and maybe get something else to replace it. But I knew once I saw that, I'm like, this is not going to be good for me.
Yeah, yeah, that was my game. The game 2 was really it was in my favor. You was missing drops. I had all my drops. I had everything set up and ready. So it was good. Like for me, I mean, even though you had Puppet Master, I still had everybody that I needed. And even by like with turn 6, pretty much I had pretty much all my characters out, and you pretty much only had maybe 1 or 2. So that was all that
Well,
she wrote for that one.
I know I had I think at turn 1 I played Boris that game, and then turn 2 I played Puppet Master, but I could not activate my Boris all game. And so he was like just sitting there on the field, like, as a meat shield essentially.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah. I was
I
just
think I think there was a point where you were able to. I don't remember if you played Malice on turn 2 that game or not.
Yes, I did.
You did?
Yes, I did.
Okay. In that game on turn 3, was that the turn that you played the Barbara, you substitute the draw, or you played Dark
Yes.
Fire? It was something you did either with Dark Firestorm, you substitute out for Barbara, Drew, and then you did it again. Something, it was something like
Hmm.
that. But the point was is that you were drawing the cards that game. And then on turn 4, I think you were able to get out your Dark Side,
Hmm.
your 4-drop Darkseid, and I think I missed my 4-drop, I believe, or I had the underdrop. I don't remember that,
Yeah.
but long story short, you end up winning that game because, and then I probably drew like maybe 1 or 2 playable plot twists that game, And so I knew it was really hard for me to just come back from that. And then, it was just kind of over. So now our third match, round three, the one that was to determine the game. And again, I wish people really would have saw this match on camera, because not to brag or anything, but a lot of things went right for me that game. So on the third game, I took the even initiative. I think that was a turn I played Boris. And then obviously your
Mhm.
turn one, you didn't play anything. We drew our cards, and I think I remember playing Puppet Master in that game, but I'm not 100%
Not sure.
sure.
I think the problem and the biggest misplay of that game for me was I did have a turn. I had turn two. I had a two drop. I had a three drop. I didn't have my four or five. I didn't have my four drop, but I had Dark Superboy in my hand.
Mm-hmm.
And my biggest misplay, with I think really is the thing that turned the whole game around, was I dark matter drained your throne room and
Uh-huh.
gave you my five drop. And what I should have
Oh,
done was let you keep it. It's like, okay, he's gonna get his plot twist, let it be. So at least I could keep my five drop. If I would have did that, on turn five, I would have at least had something to kind of attack with and do something with. So that way I would have had my five drop there, and then on turn six, I would when it was actually my niche, I would have had a six and a five to kind of do something with. So at least have a like pretty much to have a shield, and also just to have like Dark Superboy out there, because he is a 2-for-1 no matter what.
yeah. And actually, now that you talked about misplays, there's also a misplay in the first match that I wanted to go over. So I do remember now that I played my 3-drop Doctor Doom, and I used this effect to put a plot twist on top of the deck. And I think that turn you played Dark Matter Drain on me, or it was something like that. But I realized that I could have done something in response to your Dark uh, Matter Drain that I didn't see till after I said it was okay. And I don't remember the full details about it. But I mean, I don't think it would have affected the first game very much. But again, it's just something that, sometimes you see plays after things have resolved, and you're just like,
Yeah.
oh, I forgot to do that. So
Hmm.
that's something that I noticed in the first game as well. Yeah, so we get to turn five. Or no, it was turn four. And you had no drop on turn four.
No drop on turn
And
four. That.
and that is like one of your key turns that you have to play something too. And that
Yeah, and the funny thing is, like, I run 5 4 drops. I run and literally 6 searches.
right,
So, and a lot of my play tests, like, I usually don't miss my 4 drop. But I think the problem was that I was hoping, like, I got spoiled with my deck,
right.
and just being able to, like, all right, sometimes, like, I will go and draw into it later on in the game. I'll draw my plot twist, and I think that is a lot. I call it pretty much, it's like like muscle memory, and just the lack of the fact that I haven't really been playing, getting my reps in of verses as much and stuff. So with that, that was definitely something where it's like, yeah, I got my 2 and 3, but yeah, let me mulligan so that way I could get Darkseid, because he's very critical turn. I even had some of my friends suggesting that I should run like 8 4 drops, and I'm like, good lord. But just to make the curve, or run like 8 searches. But like I said, my deck, because of all the draw power in my deck, it just spoils me. And of course, hey, so when you spoiled, sometimes you got to get a little bit of a wake up call.
Yeah, exactly. So you missed your 4-drop, and I was able to play my 4-drop Doctor Doom, and I was able to do some things where I was able to. I think. Oh, I know what happened this turn. So I had a face up, Faces of Doom, and a face up. I think this was the yeah. I had that, and I had Clash of Worlds, and I think you had Dark Matter Drain at that
Hmm.
point, and you went to go replace one of them, and then I played Clash of oh I remember I played Clash of Worlds. I named Doctor Doom. I played Doctor Doom. I said with his ability on the chain, do you have a response? And I think you decided to replace the Clash of Worlds, and then in response to that, I played Faces of Doom, so that way I could turn the Faces of Doom face down and at least use it again for later.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that was a good, yeah, that was definitely a good turn for you.
Yeah, and so of course we get to turn five, and I think this was the turn that you underdrop. You played the Malice and a 3-cost character, I believe.
Yeah, which definitely hurt me because I was like, I was hoping that hey, I would draw into my 5 drop, but unfortunately, I did not. And yeah, that was just brutal for me. And it was just like because I'm just thinking of wow, if I just did not use Dark Matter Drain on your throne room and
Right.
kept my 5 drop, I'll have a 5 drop there, and I would have been in a better situation. I would have been able to at least because that would have helped me on turn 6, which was the end turn of it. That really just that was the end of the game. Because on turn 6, what and I ran this play over in my head like so many times. I would have had my 6 drop and my 5 drop. Well, on because and on turn 5, whoever you would have stunned, I would have chose to also stun your 3 drop to hopefully get him out of there. So that way on turn 6, I would have when I gave you the Rock of Eternity, you would not have had that 3 drop Doom to kind of replace to kind of get rid of it,
Oh,
and that would have
so
definitely
so
helped.
so before we get to turn 6, I want to comment on something that happened on turn 5 for me. So I remember telling you that, well, I have some good news and I have some bad news, and
Mm,
you're kind of like giggling about it, and I'm like, well, the good news is I do not have my 5 cost character, and this was like good news for you, bad news for you. So yeah, good news is I don't have my 5 cost character. The bad news is I can use my 5 resource points this turn. And I remember those were the exact words that I said to you.
ye-
So what I end up
mhm,
and in my deck, if you don't hit your 5, the typical play I do is I play if I have Boris, I'll play Boris, put him under, get either Clash of Worlds or Faces of Doom, depending on what I have in my hand and what I have face down in my resource row. So I end up getting Clash of Worlds, and I Clash of Worlds for Doctor Doom, and I was able to play my another 4 drop Doctor Doom, and playing another 4 drop Doctor Doom in my deck is on turn 5 is not necessarily bad because now I have 2 4 drop Doctor Dooms that can make it makes you harder to play plot twist from your hand when I have 2 of them out on the
mhm,
field. So that's it's not the ideal turn 5, but at least it's something to do. And
yeah,
so yeah, now we come to turn 6, and this was like, I was, the endurance totals were pretty, I think it was like 20 to 40 or 38, 20 for you and 48 for me. It was something like, or 38 for me, something like that. But
mhm,
I remember it was my turn 6. I was able to play essentially what I had on the field this turn. I had the 2 4 drop Doctor Dooms, and then I had a one the 3 drop on the field. So I recruit Victor Von Doom, and obviously whenever I recruit him, as a courtesy to my opponents, I always say when the recruitment is on the chain, do you have a response? Because not a lot of people see that once he hits the field, you can't play plot twist. So I remember playing him on the field, and that was that. You go to your turn, and this is the turn where you play the Darkseid Omega, and this is where it was time for me to smell what the Rock was cooking. And I wanted to use that phrase on you when we played, but I forgot to. So I know you played Darkseid. You flipped up Rock of Eternity. You gave it to me, and you took my face up Clash of Worlds. So we did that thing, but before we went to combat, I actually sacrificed my 3 drop Doctor Doom to replace it, and I literally saw that play like instantly as soon as you gave me the rock. I'm like, okay, this is the reason why 3 drop Doom is good in this situation.
yeah, yeah. I knew that was going to be the play that you was going to do, and it was like, and that's another reason why me not having my 5 drop out when I needed it hurt me so bad. Because that way I could have got rid of it. If I would have did that, that would have turned the whole game around, and I would have been able to kind of try to get some of a comeback on it. Because Rock of Eternity, I've had games where hey, I was at lower endurance,
Right.
and I was able to come back with it. Now I will say this: going back to that game with Superman versus Revenge Squad with the Reign of Terror,
Right.
that plot
Right.
twist, I
Right.
may
Right. You
have
mean you mean is it Reign of Terror or Reign of Terra?
Reign of Terror,
Okay.
and
Because I,
yeah,
I
and
I had to clear up with Aaron on our interview video about that because I was like I didn't know there was a card called that. So
Yeah, and I may have to incorporate one of those cards in there as well because just like wow, like they it's almost like a permanent Tower of Babel for them. So I was like, okay, learn something new. And that's what I love about versus when people play and experiment with different cards and kind of makes you kind of look at like, oh, I may need to incorporate that in my deck now.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, that was kind of an interesting tech choice for Aaron as well. But I mean, it definitely worked out for the long run. And so, okay, so we come to turn 6. I have at this point we go into combat. I have the 6 drop Doctor Doom and 2 of the 4 drop Doctor Dooms. So what I end up doing, and I think, and you have, this is how you your formation of characters was, is you had Darkseid 6 drop in your front row, and right below it was Malice in the support row. So
Hmm.
I had to think really hard about this for a second, and the thing was is like, and this I was overthinking this too hard because I knew a team attack was going to happen during that turn, but I was thinking about, okay, I should team attack into, with the 6 drop and the 7 drop, but the problem is that he could stun my 6 drop, and then you could start playing plots from your resource row. And I was literally thinking about what I should, or if I should, or I was also thinking, because I had Aquaman in my hand, and I was like, oh, should I pass the just pass the turn and like play the long extended game, since I locked them out of plot twist at this point. But then I saw the play. I'm like, wait a minute. If I just team attack with my 2 4 drop Doctor Dooms into his 6 drop, because I think he has a 13 defense, right?
Yes, 30
Okay.
defense. Yeah.
So worst case scenario, he stuns one of worst case scenario is you have a bunch of pumps of Darkseid in your hand and you get, beyond 14 attack. So I was like, okay, if that worst case scenario, if that happens, I have a couple of Faces of Doom and I have some Doom cards in my hand I could power up to try to stun him back. And so
Hmm.
then I team attacked, you stun one of my 4 drop Dooms, and then I decided to attack with my 6 drop to your my 6 drop Doctor Doom to your Malice. And
Hmm.
you're like, tech is legal. And then I realized, like, I'm like, he's at 16 life right now. Okay. And I was trying to do the math in my head, and I was like, okay, I can hit him for 13 right now, but I realized that, oh my god. And I played Faces of Doom, and you're like, oh, I don't know why you said something like, I don't know why you're playing that, doesn't mean anything. I'm like, well, that's the last Doom card I needed to power up 3 times to get you for exactly lethal damage.
Yeah.
So I got really lucky on that, and unfortunately for you, you did not get the drops that you needed. And if you would have curved out, it probably could have been a different game for sure.
Yeah, I mean, even with curving out, like I look at pretty much my that misplay of the throne room because that definitely would have helped me out with it and just having another character on the field to kind of either soak in the damage and get another stun. So it was like I say, a learning experience for me that I was like, okay, and now I'm definitely motivated to get some more reps in the verses and stuff so that way I don't make those foolish mistakes again. But hey, I mean, hey, listen, it's the hey, sometimes it's the heart of the cards.
Yeah,
Sometimes, you draw what you need.
and you know what? This was a good I feel like it was a good practice for both of us, because number one, it's a good practice for me as a content creator, because now with all the problems that we had on Saturday, hopefully I'm looking at the stream right now. Everybody says it's okay right now because I just asked in chat, and I think it's really because I'm on my laptop and it's a much more powerful computer. So I think that's helping a lot, and
Hmm.
I think I'm gonna definitely taking that into consideration. Maybe my desktop PC just didn't have a powerful processor to incorporate streaming, so that could have been a problem. So definitely next time we stream, I will use my laptop. But it's
Definitely.
definitely going good right now. And so Berechiach, is there anything else that you want to add about our game that you may have missed that you want to talk about right now, or did you think,
Um,
or do you think we got everything down?
No, I think we got pretty much 99% of everything down with it. I think like the one of the challenges for me is that even when I had no time zone, which was very helpful
Oh
against your
yeah,
deck.
that's right. I forgot there was a couple of times when you did it, And I think there was one
Yeah,
time when you tried to flip it up from your resource row, but I had the 6 drop Doctor
6 drop.
Doom. Yeah, you
Yeah.
did. That's right.
Yeah, but that was definitely helpful for me, so that way I could kind of go and control the paralysis or the no or the reign of terrors. So that was very very good for me. And the reason why I kind of put that card in my deck was as I said in my when we did the deck profile, is that there's always going to be every team has that annoying card that that hey, if they have it, you're gonna have some trouble with. And so with no time zone, it just allows me to kind of get around it without having to play pathetic attempt. Because for years, pathetic attempt was just one of those another card where I was just like, wow, this card is just so freaking good, and it's not team stamped. It doesn't cost you anything. You just play it and it's like, hey, whatever you're gonna do it. No, stop it.
Now, do you
So
typically play null time zone from your hand? Because obviously you can't in your Darkseid deck. You can't get the benefit of exhausting a cane to replace it. So is that typically a
uh,
card you want to play out of your hand?
actually, I like to have one copy in my resource row, and that's because of Throne Room. So one of the effects of Throne Room is that if I have Dark Side on the field and a character and someone flips anything from their resource row, a plot twist or location, I could discard a card and I could turn a face up resource face down. So the play is that I like to use No Time Zone, and when they do it, I'll go and use that card to flip it face down. If it's still in the build phase, I'll try to do it again to call another card, or so I get multiple uses of that card.
Right. And the other thing that I also forgot to mention too is remember in one of our games I played a 3 drop Doctor Doom and I searched for a card and I was originally going to get Reign of Terror, but I said no, I decided to get Mystic Paralysis instead. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so the reason why I decided to change my mind because I forgot that you play a lot of stuff that replaces resources, and putting Reign
Hmm.
of Terror on the top of my deck is probably not the best choice to do
Oh
against your deck. So
yeah,
that's why
yeah.
I
If you would have,
decided like no, I better get Mystic Paralysis just because of that. So, but
oh yeah, yeah,
but
definitely.
but even and this is what's interesting. So let's say I did get the Reign of Terror, even if you didn't have anything to replace my resources, you saw what plot twist I was drawing. So that and if you have no time zone, you're just on cloud nine because you're like, oh, I got this ready to fire up when he draws it.
Hmm.
So that's something that I noted when we were playing too. So okay, if that's all, I guess right now we will open up the questions in the chat. So if you guys have any questions about our games, if there's anything that there's some details that you guys wanted to know about, try to stall until we get some questions. So
Yeah. Somebody did have a question on another chat that I'm on, and I want to clarify. When
sure.
I replaced his throne room with my 5 drop Dark Superboy, it was on turn 3.
Okay.
Yeah, because I guess some people thought that I did it on turn 5, and believe me, if it's turn 5, I would have definitely recruited Dark Superboy. I would not have replaced it. So it was on turn 3, and I did that because I was like, okay, I'm going to get my 5 drop eventually, or at least a search. And
Right.
unfortunately, that did not happen.
Right. Exactly. All right. So we'll just kind of and the other thing that I guess I could stall about. So we will definitely have a rematch, no doubt. I mean, right now we'll probably have it. I say we should have another rematch in the summer sometime. Then it'll be like a real like a lot of events usually happen during the summer, so I think that'd be a good time to do it.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. I definitely want to rematch. I like to also thank the community for all the salt they gave me.
did you
Yes.
did you see the one with Dark Side like at the fast food working at the fast food place?
Yeah, the community definitely knows how to really make me feel the pain. Like the burn was already bad enough, but to get hit with even more of it was more. So don't, as I said in my video, I'm putting all of you on my list. Okay, so don't worry. So everybody that got a little funny little meme that has something to say about it, you're on the list now.
I
Mr.
think
Darkseid is coming for
I
you.
think I've been on the list when I sent you the truck of salt gif.
Oh yeah, yeah.
but
Oh yeah.
but
Don't get me wrong.
so
You're
and I
definitely number one.
so and I mean people are really liking our rivalry and I think it's really good. So now you know how you were talking about like your secret society thing in your videos and stuff? That got me to thinking, because the Golden Guardians podcast is going to take a break after our first season. So I'm looking at making other content. And so what I think would be fun to do with you, if you're down for it, of course, is doing like a podcast about villains decks. And you can have people come on and talk about their deck and how they're going to challenge Darkseid and beat him and try to overtake the throne, kind of a thing. So just an idea that I wanted to throw out if you're interested, but we could talk about that later.
Oh yeah, I definitely would love that. Like I said, the community has exploded in the last year, and just so many people getting involved with it, and even with with the personal messages with me, which is hey, if they have questions about about a deck, even if it's Dark Side or something else. So I'm definitely very just it's such a positive experience in the community, and I just want to go and just tell everybody thank you very everybody just for the love and the support. I definitely love it. uh and just to let you know, because I will be like in August, I'm going to be pretty much across the planet. I'm going to be in Korea for a good for a good year. So to yeah, so because I guess some little knowledge with me, I'm in the National Guard.
Okay.
So my unit is getting deployed, and we're going to go to Korea. So with that being said, to keep me occupied, I will be bringing all my decks with me. To so that way I can play people, whether it be on Discord or on any other type of stream and all. There will be a time difference, but hey, I have no problem if I gotta wake up 2, 3 in the morning just to get a game, and I have no problem doing that.
Well, thank you for bringing that up because then we definitely need to have a rematch before August then. And first of all, I want to say thank you for your service to my country. Um, and
Welcome.
the other thing that I want to say too is I want to talk about, you're talking about good things about the community, and this is a good time for me to bring up something really quick. So after the shit hit the fan on Saturday, and I was just so frustrated with everything, I was really embarrassed the way things came out because we planned for this thing. We planned it for weeks. I did so much work on trying to bring quality content to everybody in the community by making videos, graphics, promotional material, and I felt awful after we were off, and nothing got. I was feeling really embarrassed, and I felt like crap. I even put that video up like the night of when everything happened, and
Hmm.
I just want to say that it almost brought a tear to my eye that how everybody said like, oh, it's okay, you'll do better next time, and they said stuff like this happens. We really appreciate what you're trying to do for us. It really made me feel better and to be
Hmm.
part of a community that is really supportive and we're a family. That's what it comes down to. And it just made me feel really good and really proud to be part of this community that we love this game. We're just the support that I get has just been phenomenal. So again, this is the last time I'm going to say it, but I'm really sorry the way everything went down on Saturday. But thank you everybody for your support. It's been phenomenal. So thank you everybody. Oh,
Yeah, I just want to piggyback on and just say that hey, listen, this was the first time that we was you was doing something of this magnitude. So hey, as Newton's law, if something could go wrong, it will, and those are the best learning experiences.
right.
So now that we've gone through that. Now we know, okay, now we know what not to do, or pretty much how to make sure it doesn't happen again. And it's going to make anything that you do after, especially our rematch, even better.
Yeah, exactly. And now and the thing is about when we play, I want you to be on your A game, and I'm sure you probably want the same for me. So after playing our game on Saturday, It's like now I know what your deck does because even by reading a deck list, you may not. It's different than actually playing it. So by actually playing it, we now have a better idea of what our decks do, and we'll be better prepared for the next battle. Essentially.
Oh
So
yeah, that's definitely can't wait.
yeah. Okay. So we have a couple of questions in the chat now, and I'm falling a little bit behind. So let's go ahead and ask. So Brad Williams, tell us why Darkseid. Why do it on turn 3 either?
Uh, hey, as I said before, that was a misplay on me. That hey, and that misplay cost me the game. So that's something I gotta live with. So he's totally right, and it's funny. Brad is, and I'm gonna call him out. Brad is our ATL Doom player.
Oh,
So
okay.
yes. So with it, he was the one that I was getting some reps in with his Doom deck. His Doom deck is it's not it's not fun. I'm going. That's all I'm gonna say. It's not fun. He doesn't. And when he brings that deck out, nobody wants to be his friend. Nobody likes you. He always coming out with some janky card that makes you just go and just like, really, this is what you thought of, really. So, but yeah, so he really got on me just about certain things that he heard about the match. So I've been hearing it from him for a couple days now.
Oh, right. Okay. So the next question is from Aftershock Reviews. What turns did you get in Old Time Zone? If before turn 3, why not save it for Reign of Terror?
Well, the to be quite honest, I didn't really see a lot of your that location Lavaria.
Oh,
Like if I
yeah.
would have saw it, yeah. So I didn't see too much of it. If you did, then especially if I saw it early, pretty much, if I would have saw more of it, I definitely would have did it. But and don't get me wrong, even though like I was afraid of Reign of Terror, of course, but the card that I was really kind of, just like terrified of was the what's your principal paralysis. That's definitely Doom's trump
Mm.
card. But in the back of my mind, I was like, if he reigns to terrors me twice on turn 3, I'm gonna really feel some type of way.
Right, and the reason why Reign of Terror is really good is because let's say you didn't play Malice and you have your 3 drop, and then you play your 4 drop. Okay, so I play on turn 4. I play my Doom. I bounce back your 3 drop. So now all you have is a 4 cost character out. And if I have
Mm,
Puppet Master out too, Puppet Master automatically if you only have one character on the field, that is now I get to exhaust a higher cost character since all of your lower characters have been bounced back to your hand. If that makes sense.
mhm. Yeah, it's definitely something that it was definitely in the back of my mind, and it's one of those things where it's like, hey man, if you get it, you get it. It's not much I could really do. Like if he was going to double rain me on turn 3 or 4, it was still going to hurt.
Yeah, and also, so this goes back. So now this is you talked about Latveria. So this is the reason. This is how I typically play Latveria, and I remember playing Latveria on the second game because I was underdropping and you were hitting me for damage. So I flipped it up, hoping to maybe get some reinforcement and take less damage and that kind of stuff. But I was also worried that maybe you would find a way to replace it. But I typically play Latveria very conservatively, and by flipping it, if I flip it by turn 2 or turn 3 or whatever, and you're leaving it exposed to the replacement effect. So I usually flip up Latveria the turn I'm gonna Gamma Bomb, and I
Mm,
I play it very conservatively. So because if I flip it up and you go to target it, I can in response play Gamma Bomb on turn 8. So
hmm.
that's why I kind of save it for that purpose.
Yeah, and it's funny. Like we've been talking about Gamma Bomb and stuff, and we didn't even get a chance to play it.
Yeah,
We didn't
that's
even get a chance to get
right.
to Ape Turn.
That's true. We didn't even get there, so you didn't really have to worry about it. And I did not see your one copy of Have a Blast that game. I don't think so.
No. I did not have that or the my reality gem. But that's how some of the games are like that. Hey, you could have a certain card in your deck, and
Yeah.
you just don't see it. I do find it very, very funny that the one copy of Caliban, you drew it on turn one, and then you had the nerve. Like, so when you did the throne room, that card came up. I was like, really? He was about to get it again? I will say that, hey, it was on your side. It was
Yeah.
definitely on your side with it. And it's funny, like, even though like I'm like, hey, I love my dark side deck. In fact, I'm about to go and make another one. So I'm about to have like 4 different dark side elite decks.
Whew.
I do have, yes. Yeah, because I have what I've learned, like when I first started with Darkseid, there was like I wanted this one deck to do everything. And what I've learned is that when you try to make it do everything, it's not good at anything.
Oh yeah,
So
absolutely.
I was like, you know what? Let me make different versions of it. Like if this is like the Dark Side deck that you that I played you. That's my primary one. That's one that I've been playing for years.
Mhm.
But then I also like, you know what? I'm gonna have a let me make another Dark Side Legend deck where I can start playing the other cards such as Lord of Apocalypse and All Hell Dark Side and certain other cards that just have dark side in its name that I could actually it would make more sense for me to use. And I'm also going to be making, which I was talking it over with another member of the group, my a Birds of Prey Dark Side Elite, so that way I could go and abuse the substitute mechanic. And they also have a team up join the dark side where any character that comes into play gets +1 attack. I
Right.
think he's attacking for the turn. That so I kind of want to go and abuse that because especially with the birds of prey, they have especially when in the hitting area, they have a lot of it. They pretty much are beefy in attack.
Right.
So with with adding that plus the team up and everything, giving them extra, sort of like Vixen, which is already a 9/6.
Right.
Now she's an 11, and just with that plus the pumps and all, so I kind of wanted to go in, use that deck and see how it goes with that, and I also have a very fun in-game deck. And I'll go in. I'll share the secret with everybody. So it's not. It's pretty much a X static villains deck, and pretty much the reason I like using those who because with um, the villains help me keep bounce cards back to my hand, especially with Science Spire allows me to draw through my deck, so that way I could go and find my end game.
Right.
And since I have one character out, they have with X statics, they make sure that hey, I can't get targeted. You can't target me as a player, and pretty much it's the kind of go sit back and stall until I get to turn 9, so then I could drop out my dark side and then in game and pretty much just laugh at everybody.
Aftershock reviews did say nobody is concerned about Chump Side's list, so I think that's some smack talking. Oh,
Yeah.
I know what I was gonna say. So I knew I said to you when we were talking before a game, like not recorded, but we were just on Discord talking. I told you that if I lose, I'm gonna join the Dark Side Elite, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm actually thinking about making a Dark Side deck now after this, but I think I'm gonna play more like pathetic attempts and stuff like that. And try to add more because I noticed you didn't play pathetic attempt at all. Is that because you have a hate relationship with the card?
All right, so anyone who has known me for years know that how much I despise pathetic attempt. Now, I understand that it's a necessary card when you have certain cards such as switching sides and spider stall. I definitely understand that, but I just I've talked so much crap about that card that I can't play that card at all. I just can't. So the way I go around it is just like I have no time zone because I have lost a lot of games because of pathetic attempt. I've lost so many games because of that card. So that's why I hate it.
Mm-hmm.
So I make it a personal. So that's just my personal choice not to run it. It's a great card. And it is necessary. I get it. It is a personal choice of not playing that card. I think if I was to play that card, my friends in Atlanta and New York will never let me live it down. I have all right. They never will. In fact, as much all right. So I talk a lot of crap about Superman, and I recently made a World's Finest deck,
Oh, okay,
and
cool.
Yes, and I get crap about that now. It's like, oh, now you want to play with Superman and rah rah rah. I'm like, oh boy, here we go.
Okay. So really quick, I just want to point out, I am not a big Superman fan either. Because this has been the one reason why I don't like Superman. It's been a problem with him since day one. He has no balance of power in TV shows, movies, comics, whatever. He's either too strong or too weak. Like, and that's been a problem with him because that's why they created Kryptonite, was because when he was first created, he was too powerful, so he needed a weakness. And then eventually they added him another weakness, like him being weak to magic. But like for an example, in the Justice League animated series, he just seems to always like get like one small like punch like wipes him out, and it's like this guy is supposed to be like indestructible, but and so
To go ahead. I'll
and
because I do have a rebuttal to
yeah,
that.
yeah, so there's things like that. And then in Superman Returns, the movie, he lifts up a whole island of kryptonite with a piece of kryptonite in him, and that, in my opinion, that should be enough to kill him. So
Hmm.
that's all I have to say. So what's your rebuttal?
I will say this: most Superman, because of his raw power, he does hold back. Because at the end of the day, like if Superman wanted to, he could have, with all his power, he could kill a lot of his villains. But it's always like when he's fighting people, it's a gauge. It's okay. Let me see how much you could take here, how much you could take there. That's why, like when, like in the last episode of Just League Unlimited, when he went straight Dragon Ball Z on Darkseid, which
Yeah.
I wasn't a fan of. But
Was it
yeah,
was it
so that
wait,
was
was it Darkseid, or was it like the Lex Luthor Brainiac thing?
no. It was Darkseid when he kind of, I think, even combined it with some powers of Brainiac.
Oh,
It was the episode. Yeah, Lex was trying to get
yeah.
Brainiac back, and in trying to bring Brainiac back, he brought Darkseid back.
Oh, I don't remember it a whole lot, but yeah. Anyway, so
Yeah,
go ahead and
and
continue.
I will say also, if for anyone that is a Superman fan, that new show they have on the CW is amazing.
I
Like
I did I did see the first episode, but I haven't seen the rest of it. Uh,
it's amazing. It's amazing.
but okay, so going back to, so I hate Superman by himself. Now, when Superman is with Batman, I tend to like Superman a little bit more. Not as much as Batman, but I have more of appreciation for Superman in that case. Like when they're the world's finest. I actually have two world's finest decks, and I enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
I play. So my one of my world's finest is like an all EA world's finest, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually getting two other cards in the mail to help make that deck better, so that's pretty cool. And then I play the other world's finest deck I play is similar to my buddies, because my buddy is all about the world's finest. He plays nothing but world's finest, and he rather focus being perfect at that deck than playing like other decks and being good at those. So my world's finest deck is the typical build, Barbara Gordon, Hacker Elite, Alfred's, Bat Got Your Tongue, because this is a modern age deck. I play
Mm-hmm.
Last Son of Krypton, Metropolis Marvel, Deterrent Force, and the 8-drop Supergirl who puts in work sometimes.
Yeah, I have a question for you because I was having this debate with some people, with some friends,
Sure.
and it was like, with World's Finest. It's a World's Finest deck until you add 4-drop Wonder Woman. I feel like as soon as you add 4-drop Wonder Woman, it becomes Trinity.
Absolutely.
Cause that's
Yes.
yeah, cause that's yeah, cause that is because when I built my World's Finest deck, I was like, this looks just like a Trinity deck, just minus Wonder Woman. Cause like majority of all the cards that I'm playing the hookup that plays it. I'm
Right.
playing Brains and Bronze, which they do
Yep.
play.
I
It's
bet.
just that I don't have, yeah, my six, like honestly the 6-drop is the same. The 5-drop can be the same, but I play Superman, Batman, Robot, which is, do not sleep in that card. It is very, very good. Do not sleep on it because he pretty much has invulnerability by himself.
Right.
Um, yeah, and like I just noticed that it's the same deck. It's just that instead of playing no cost, I'm playing Wonder Woman. That's it.
Mm.
So I just wanted to get your
Oh,
take on it. Just
okay. So yeah, I agree. Yes, absolutely. If you, and actually, funny you mentioned that, because a while back I saw a YouTube video where the guy titled something like X deck versus World's Finest. But after seeing the video, I noticed that he played Wonder Woman in the deck, and I left a comment saying that this is technically not a World's Finest deck because World's Finest is Batman and Superman. This is more of a Trinity deck, and they actually changed the title after I left that comment, so that was pretty cool.
Mm.
And so, do a lot of so I know a lot of people like Trinity decks, so I just want to talk about that for a second. Do most of the Trinity decks use carrying the torch, or is it just like my particular build?
No, actually, I know a lot of people. Shout out to Ralph. That plays carrying the torch, and they do that to make Wonder Woman usually Superman, so that way they can use Brands of
Indestructible.
Bronze and Indestructibles. Yeah, so
But you also have the
sh-
option to using Batman if you want to like play from the darkness, or if you
hmm
needed Batman on the field to play Brains and Brawn, and you had Superman out already. You can also do that. That's what I've experienced. and
hmm
and that my build was originally playing for the 2-drop spot. It was playing the high evolutionary to get more draws, so you can pitch the Wonder Woman to switch targets and
hmm
stuff like that. But the problem that I had with that is in the late game, he's dead in your hand because you can't ditch him to the hookup to draw another card, or so what I ended up doing is I took that out and I replaced it with the Roy Harper Arsenal Coming of Age, and
hmm
I find him to be a little bit better to because if you bounce him back to your hand, that's like adding another card in your hand. You can ditch for any of your discard effects in the deck. So that's why I decided to make that change, and it's a lot more consistent too. And plus, if necessary, I could flip over Mightiest Heroes, put them on top of my deck, which I couldn't do that with High Evolutionary.
hmm say I my suggestion on two,
Yeah.
Ragman.
Is that the
He
Crisis one?
Ragman, yes,
The
he's the
one
one
where he
that's
gets
he's
the one that gets a when he gets stunned, you can move a card in the graveyard to get a counter.
yes, get a counter. He's a 3/3. He can get bigger. He's Gotham Knights. So and he kind of works with that team. And he's on a two. He gets up there and being able to remove cards from the graveyard definitely helps out against like pest like if you're going against like society or underworld, that helps a lot.
Oh, if you want to talk about removing cards from the KO pile, you know who the best card to do that is?
Was that?
Okay. Well, I believe it's only character cards, but I think the 5-drop Mephisto from Marvel Knights is really good in doing that.
Oh,
Because
oh yeah.
all you need to actually let me just go
You just got to
online.
reveal.
Oh yeah, you just revealed, but let me just look at the card for a second. I'm online,
Yeah,
so okay. Soul
yeah. I
Stealer, that's it.
yes.
Okay. Conceal revealed underworld character card from hand. Remove any number of target characters in the KO pile from the game. Mephisto gets +1 attack. So yeah, it is characters. So like,
Oh yeah.
so you can remove like all their. So if this is against Trinity deck, you can remove all their Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman character cards in there, so they can't use carrying the torch. I mean, he is very weak, but if you're looking for that kind of effect, that's definitely the thing to go. Also, there is a plot twist that removes cards in the KO pile too. It's from Crisis. Um, it's an ongoing. Oh man, what's it called? But there, yeah,
It's removing souls, I think.
no, it's not that. It's oh man, it's really good against Mega City. We talked about it in our podcast,
Yeah.
but it's one of those cards. It's from Crisis. I
Yeah.
can't think of
Or
what
you
it's
can
called.
always go old school and use the
Maybe
Phantom
Travel
Zone.
now.
Yeah, yeah. And you can always use Phantom Zone too.
Oh yeah, that's true. Phantom Zone, but that.
If you control Superman or Revenge Squad, of course.
Oh right, that's cool. Okay, so we're gonna probably. I think that'll call it for this recording, unless if there's anything else you want to add, Berechiach.
Let me see. Let
And
me
maybe give
see.
Chad a couple of minutes to see if they want to add anything before we sign off.
Oh well. All your talk about Superman has definitely made my friend, who is a big Superman fan. Very mad. So, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to hear that. And I will go and say this: even though am it's a dark side, Superman, when written correctly, is amazing. I do feel that a lot of people fall in love with this Injustice Superman,
Oh, okay.
and I have to say that, hey, that's not Superman. That's not Superman. Like, Superman is, like I said, he has a certain moral standard of, like, because he is a god pretending to be man,
Right.
and those stories that he does are just amazing. How he inspires people, like he inspired Steel. There's another one. It's Action Comics. Yeah, it's issue 69. I think maybe 696, and it's a great issue where it was when Doomsday came back, but he was starting to being able to speak and gain intelligence,
Ooh.
and he was fighting Gog, and Gog came from the future. And long story short, he beat Superman and captured him, and he was trying to, like, over the years he was trying to corrupt him, and he refused. And then
Right.
and out of nowhere and in the future, because pretty much Doomsday was inspired, Doomsday actually became the leader of, like, the Superman army.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Yeah, yes, it was an interesting story, and it was the fact but that's Superman. Superman inspires, and I understand that it sounds so corny, but it's one of those things where you look at it, it's like, wow, like, this is who Superman is. It's the same thing with Batman, where it's like, even though he could be this dark, this dark figure, and he's going and throwing people through windows and stuff, no matter what, he never kills.
He never crosses the line. Yeah.
He never crossed. I'm talking about the real Batman, not Brad Pitt, when he was literally the Punisher with a Batman costume on.
Oh, right. Gotcha.
Yeah, so yeah, that's one of those things. I just wanted to put it out there. Hey, listen, even though I love beating on Superman, I love it. I'm really good at it. I still, as a character, I love Superman.
So that I think that's gonna be it for this. And Berechiach, thanks for coming on and talking about our matches and all that stuff. And anything else you want to say to the chat before we leave?
Hey, listen, hey, I will. If anybody else want to challenge me, I'm willing to take it. And yes, I do have other decks besides Darkseid that I would love to play. I have an Outsider deck. I actually have a Future Foe deck that did actually get a win. I always try to get, like, because Future Foes is one of those teams that I like. I like trying to make the teams that not a lot of people play with, and try to get them some play. And my Future Foes actually got some wins in. So if anybody wants to go and do a challenge, hey, catch me on Discord. I'll love to actually go get some matches in, because, like I say, hey, I playing with you has, once again reminded me, hey, man, I really love this game.
Just to let everybody know, I will. If you want to play Mr. Darkseid on a live stream, I will definitely make it happen because I think right now my connection was perfect. It was excellent throughout this entire recording. I'm on my laptop. I'm using my Wi-Fi, and I mean, we're not doing video, so maybe that also kind of helped improve everything as well. But I will definitely look into maybe the next recording since this went so well. I'll do like some kind of video thing next time for the
Hmm.
stream. So yeah, so what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to host another live stream on Friday night, and I'll post it in the group. But I'm gonna do like an open play, so if anybody wants to play one of my decks, I'll get a bunch of deck lists on up there, and maybe I'll put Spider Man, X Men, World's Finest. I'll put a list if you guys want to play with any of them, and I will, I'll host a stream again and see if this one works as well. But yeah, besides that, I think I'm about done. And Berechiah, thanks again for coming on and talking to everybody. And I will say this in respect to you, and I think this is a good way to end it. Now, even though I am loyal to Doom, I will still say this. All hail Darkseid.
Hey, and I did lose, so I will go and bend knee to Doctor Doom, because he did win. All right, and Doom was triumph.
Hey, you know what? Darkseid will just have like you ever watch Dragon Ball Z?
Yes, of
Okay,
course.
Darkseid will just be like the saying. Every time you defeat him, he's just gonna get stronger. Just like Vegeta. All right, guys.
Gotcha.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot.
Later.